This year we begin the Trend Factory Talk series. I'm very happy to welcome Keith Metcalfe here, who is the head of eBay for Germany. Keith has been working on Preloved Fashion, luxury and sneakers business in Germany for a number of years. And he will be talking about how eBay is building the future of jewelry e-commerce. And you're also exhibiting in Hall A2, I believe.
That's right.
Thank you so much for being here, Keith, and the floor is yours.
Thank you. Is my mic working? Yeah. Brilliant. Thank you, everyone. Quite a tough act to follow, the press conference. As Lawrence said, I'll be talking about how eBay is building the future of e-commerce for jewelry. I am Director of Fashion for eBay in Germany. I also lead our watches category globally, so it's a real privilege to be here at INHORGENTA talking to all of you. In my role, I work closely with retailers, brands, entrepreneurs across a range of markets, and I see firsthand how jewelry and watches are evolving in digital commerce. But before we start with the future, before we get to the future, let me start with one simple insight, and that's that the biggest barrier to jewelry in e-commerce is trust. And that's a key focus of what we'll talk about today. And I'd like to share how we at eBay are addressing that barrier while building engagement and long-term relevance in jewelry and watches. As a quick show of hands, how many of you have shopped on eBay in the past? How about within jewelry? Okay, we've got some work to do. That's good. It's headroom. But we're obviously a global marketplace connecting millions of buyers and sellers. What makes us unique from other e-commerce sites is our unique mix of rare, pre-loved, and everyday items. And since 1995, we've played a central role in what is now called the circular economy. We existed before that term was being used. And long before resale became mainstream, our community was already participating in it. At our core, we create economic opportunity, and whether that's entrepreneurs, independent jewelers, vintage watch dealers, or brands, they use eBay to grow their business. Today, eBay connects 134 million buyers across 190 markets. To give a sense of where Germany fits into that, 18 million of those buyers are here in Germany. And why does that scale matter? In this context, it's because it enables us to invest in future technologies that build that trust barrier or break it down, the trust barrier. As a demonstration of this, we have authenticated 15 million items globally since we launched our authentication service. And that investment into trust infrastructure would not be possible without our scale. And scale means demand. When sellers or brands join eBay, they're not having to build their own audience from scratch. They are activating the existing eBay audience. In our most recent financial results, which we published this week, we announced fourth quarter sales of $21 billion, and that was a growth of 10% most recently. So that's eBay and that's our scale. But probably more interestingly, a brief history of e-commerce, where we've come from in the last 31 years. Initially, 3 pillars drove e-commerce growth: selection, value, and convenience. Value because new business models enabled efficiency for pricing. Selection because in a world of no retail floor space limits, ranges could be limitless. And convenience because shoppers could transact when they want with retailers or small businesses whenever they want, and especially with the advent of mobile commerce. But in high-value categories like jewelry and watches, as we see all of this wonderful, wonderful products around us, one element had lagged behind, and that was trust. And in luxury, trust is not optional. It's fundamental. And there's clearly been a lot of innovation from the onset of e-commerce. I can remember my dad telling me that he would never put his credit card details online. I'm sure we all had similar thoughts back in the 90s, for those of us old enough to remember. And that changed quickly. But trust technology has really accelerated in the last 5 years. And the progress in trust-driving technology now gives buyers and sellers confidence to transact with items even worth thousands, tens of thousands, or hundreds of thousands of value in dollars, euros, pounds. And this is where technology becomes an enabler. And I'll talk about 3 specific trends and how we're addressing them at eBay. The first one is the eBay authenticity check or authenticity guarantee, depending on which country you're in. At eBay, our marketplace is now able to recognize whether items across a range of fashion, luxury, and some collectibles categories need to be eligible for our authenticity check. In Germany, we've had this authenticity check in place since 2021 when we first launched the program here, but only on watches within the context of this show, and that applied to watches above 1,800 euros. We've since last year increased that to some lower priced watches as well, where the buyer has to pay a fee. But most excitingly, as I sit in amongst this fantastic jewelry show, is we now have the authenticity check in place for jewelry as well in Germany. How does it work? Once a purchase is made, the seller is given not the address of the buyer, they're given the address of our authentication center, which is just outside of Berlin, where we have trained experts, independent of the seller, verifying and carefully examining the item for both item condition and authenticity. Now, not just any person off the street is capable, has the skills to make that check. So for watches, they are trained watchmakers with decades of watchmaking experience. And for jewelry, they are similarly experienced, qualified gemologists who are trained specifically for our program by the GIA. They verify such details as the model, the serial number, the condition of the item, in the case of jewelry, metal purity, the quality of the stones, every single detail to make sure that it is as described within the listing, so the buyer is getting what they've been promised for their money. Only once the item is confirmed as authentic do we ship that item to the buyer along with a certificate of authenticity. The process typically takes 48 hours or less, so it doesn't delay the transaction very much. It's free of charge for most buyers, apart from those lower price watches, and it's covered within our final value fees that we charge to sellers. Both buyers and sellers are therefore benefiting from an extra layer of trust because we also check the item in the event of customer returns. So we give the sellers the same level of checks on the reverse leg in a return situation as well. So sellers also benefit from that trust. And since we launched authentication, we have seen stronger buyer confidence and improved performance in high-value segments. Trust is not a marketing message, it is operational infrastructure. So that was trust. Innovation in trust is only part of the story, though. Next I want to talk about is live commerce. Oh, yes. Oh, I am sorry. Read it out. Absolutely. Thank you. Sorry, that's a gap on our accessibility for that. So the third point says the live commerce market is expected to boom over the next 5 years. And long before live commerce became this trend, eBay was already a live platform. We started as an auction platform in 1995. Live bidding, transparency, competitive pricing, community interaction, they're all part of eBay's DNA. Auctions taught us that transparency builds price confidence and community drives liquidity of those sales. Live commerce is a natural evolution of that foundation. Whilst the title of this slide says that live commerce is the future, actually in Asia today, it's very much the present. It's understood in key markets like China that live commerce makes up 30% of e-commerce sales. 30%. It's also the present in many collectibles categories in the US, where eBay is living that firsthand. One example I can give, we had a live shopping event in eBay in the US, and it delivered $1 million of sales just in a 3-hour live shopping event. The scale is huge. And now live commerce is expanding fast in Europe and especially in Germany. In Germany, over half of consumers have already watched a live shopping stream, but that might have been in traditional models like teleshopping. The interactive format is highly appealing to Gen Z and millennials, and the market is expected to boom over the next 5 years. Now, why is this particularly relevant for jewelry and watches? Because these are categories where expertise matters, detail matters, craftsmanship matters. Buyers also want to ask questions before they invest. Luxury categories perform especially well in live formats because education and confidence drive conversion, trust. And especially in the age of AI and automation, shoppers are looking for real, personal experiences to cut through all the AI slop. Live shopping is not just another channel. It's a return to personal, human-led fashion and luxury retail. And how can you get involved in this? And why is eBay Live different? The yellow box is collectibles on there. Many live formats happen on social platforms. Discovery happens there, but the transaction moves elsewhere. eBay Live combines discovery, interaction, and transaction in one place. Let me briefly explain how it works. Sellers host a live session directly within the eBay app and website. Products are integrated into the stream in real time. Buyers can click, bid, purchase instantly while watching. They can ask questions in the live chat, whether that's tell me more about this item, or it's actually, I really love this, but do you have this in a different metal or a different style or a different size? So it's real, like personal shopping style retail, but at scale. The checkout happens seamlessly within the marketplace. That simplicity matters. First, built-in trust. Transactions occur on a regulated marketplace with buyer and seller protection. For eligible items, authentication can be integrated after the live purchase. Live combined with authentication creates a level of security that pure social platforms cannot offer. Second, built-in demand. 134 million active buyers globally. You're activating an existing ecosystem with the added benefit of live shopping. And third, a low barrier to entry. There are no additional platform costs to participate in eBay Live. Sellers do not need their own complicated technical infrastructure. You do not need to be a global luxury brand with a production studio. The format works particularly well for experts and enthusiasts, independent jewelers, vintage specialists, watch traders. They benefit because knowledge really converts into sales in this environment. And let me be clear, this is not about replacing wholesale. It's not about replacing physical retail. It is about adding an incremental, scalable revenue stream powered by trust and community. In a category where credibility is everything, trust is not a feature, it is the business model. eBay Live launched in Germany last November, so it's still really new. We launched as part of Comic-Con to show the importance of collectibles within this space, but our second launch was at Berlin Fashion Week 3 weeks ago to really launch the fashion categories, and obviously we're here today talking to you about luxury categories. This is an important step in not just eBay, but expanding live commerce into Germany. With eBay Live, we return to our roots, reviving the iconic auction and discovery experience, now reimagined for modern fashion and luxury communities. This is an opportunity for everyone here and everyone in this fantastic exhibition hall to be a first mover. No one here has missed the boat on live shopping. It's brand new, and you can be at the start and benefit from that first mover advantage. It's the iconic auction and discovery experience, but reimagined for modern fashion and luxury communities. And if you want to know, how do I learn more? The QR code up here is where you can register your interest to become an eBay Live seller. So it's here, or you can find us on the eBay website with the live pill. I'll also share when we get to the end where our booth is in the store, where you can come and talk to myself and the rest of the eBay team. Sorry, I've gone backwards there. Okay. And moving on from live shopping, I'm not sure if the trailer's going to work on this by the looks of it, so excuse the lack of the video, but clearly we have a job to do to go. I asked each of you how many of you were shopping with jewelry on eBay at the moment, and my market share within this room is clearly not too high, so work to do. So what are we doing to go and tell people about eBay? Because we might not always be considered as a platform for luxury. Those who shop with us love us and keep on coming back, but I still think we need to do more to make sure that everyone is aware of eBay's amazing trust proposition, live shopping proposition, and just pure jewelry and watches proposition. And in a world of not just diverse customers, but also diverse channels, we bring eBay to life through different communities, not just demographics. Whether it's fashion lovers, watch collectors, sneakerheads, car enthusiasts, each group connects to eBay through its own passion and deserves its own storytelling angle. Channels matter just as much as content. We don't tell the same story everywhere, and we meet communities where they already are, and collaborations are really, really key to this. To give some example of some of the collaborations within the fashion and luxury space that we've activated in the past few months, some of you hopefully have seen the Disney Plus series Call My Agent Berlin. We collaborated with Disney to weave eBay pre-loved luxury looks into the costumes of the actors in the series. We also have had huge advertising campaigns bringing to life some of those propositions I mentioned. Very excitingly, we're just about to partner with Germany's Next Top Model, and we'll have an episode airing in the next few weeks. This builds on a very successful partnership we did with the reality TV juggernaut in the UK, which is Love Island. And we're trying to change the story from fast fashion to pre-loved luxury within those spaces. And finally, we have a global partnership with Condé Nast, which brings us as their official pre-loved partner into iconic publications like GQ and Vogue. It also means that we can dress fashion icons like Chappell Roan on the red carpet at the Met Gala. So we leverage these collaborations to bring consumers on the journey with us as we create the future of jewelry e-commerce. Thank you very much for listening. And thank you for your time today. If you'd like to discuss anything of what I've spoken about, we can open up for questions now. But I also have my much more knowledgeable team with me at the eBay Parisian Cafe Lounge, where we also have coffee available for you, and macarons, I think, branded macarons. So yeah, if the opportunities for the future of e-commerce isn't enough to come and talk to us, hopefully the coffee and macarons are. But thank you very much. Any questions?
Any questions? And maybe you can say what your booth number is. It's A2.
It is. It's A2.
Oh, A2322. Yeah.
All the twos.
Any questions? There's a question here.
Oh, hello.
Thank you very much. I'm from the UK, as you might guess from the accent. Do you plan to roll it out worldwide, or, I mean, you're starting in Germany. Are you going to do it elsewhere, and have you got a sequence for that?
Yeah, so firstly, starting with our authentication service. all of the categories I mentioned just now are also live in the UK.
Right.
So similarly, jewelry is authenticated actually by GIA employees in the UK, and watches by the same independent watchmaking company that we use for that. And then live shopping similarly is also live in the UK. They launched around the summer last year. So absolutely, with some nuances, everything I've spoken about today is already live in the UK.
It's already live.
We recently launched live shopping in France and Italy, Australia as well. And as you might expect, everything is also live in the US as well. So gradually we're bringing these propositions globally. But yeah, it takes time, so a gradual ramp out.
From the seller, what sort of authentication would you expect for some high-end pieces?
So, I mean, it depends on whether it's a private seller or a business seller, I think. And ultimately, the expectation is the seller knows what they're selling and they list it to, list accurately. What our authentication service is doing is having the buyers back. So if the seller has got anything wrong, whether deliberate, intentionally or unintentionally, we're able to catch that. And then, like say, if it passes all of those checks, the transaction happens and it goes on to the buyer. If the item fails those checks, then we won't pass that item on to the buyer and it will go back to the seller. And we'll ask the seller either to correct their listing, if it's just an inaccuracy rather than something like a inauthentic item. But obviously, if we ask them just to address their listing so they don't make the same mistakes again.
So if you've got a fine piece of jewellery with a diamond in it that might have a GIA cert already, would you, obviously one would, if you were selling, you would include the GIA cert number in the description of the item, which independently can be verified by your check people, because you go onto the GIA website to see that it is what it says.
Yeah, exactly. So sellers can add their own demonstrations of why the item should be trusted, but we still check every item. Unless it's coming specifically from the brand who manufactured the product, we check every item.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, okay. Any further questions?
Thank you very much. Any other questions? No, well, otherwise your booth is in Hall A2.
Yeah.
Thank you very much, Keith, for giving us this great overview.
My pleasure.
Thank
you
you
very much. Thank you.